Iori Kitahara, a 20-year-old young lad, is picked up by his uncle Toshio Kategawa. Toshio Kategawa is pretty happy to see him, as it has been almost 10 years since they met. They drive back to his uncle's diving shop, Grand Blue, where Iori will be staying while he attends college. Before entering the shop, Iori gazes at the seaside, as Izu University is in a seaside town. The roaring sea and the blazing sun, Iori can't help but feel the nostalgia of 10 years earlier. Just then, Iori notices the girl emerging from the sea before turning to enter the shop. They both make eye contact, which makes Iori blush, but before he could do anything, a voice interrupts him from inside the shop. However, he finds the girl familiar, but ignoring it, he rushes towards the shop, wondering what kind of people he will meet. Upon opening the door to Grand Blue, Iori is greeted by the sight of many drunk and heavily muscled men playing yakuken. In shock, he runs out of the shop, only to see two men chasing after him. Iori is freaked out, yet Toshio and the men find his behavior weird, as it is not strange for them, and it has been happening for a long time. Being freaked out, Iori runs out of the shop. At the same time, guys named Takedo and Katabuki smirk, thinking this is their chance to get a new member. After rushing outside, he runs to go far away from the shop but is being chased by those two guys, not caring that they are They drag Iori back to Grand Blue only to have him help with preparing the diving tanks. Toshio, Iori's uncle, motivates him to not get homesick since all boys will be leaving their parents someday. Although Iori is not homesick, he finds it strange for guys to have a festival. Those two guys explain that they weren't celebrating but deciding who preps the tanks, and being is standard while playing. Iori is frustrated by this standardization. One of the two guys introduces himself as Ryujiro Katabuki, a third-year student at Izu University in mechanical engineering. He tries to recruit Iori to the diving club. Ryujiro Katabuki is excited after getting to know that Iori is of the same field and will join their club. Iori is not interested in joining any club. Therefore, Ryujiro Katabuki changes the topic and gets to know that Iori can't swim, though he motivates him that if he only sticks with what he already knows, he will never get anywhere. The two then run into Nanaka, who is coming back from a test dive. Nanaka quickly runs towards Iori to greet him, though Iori doesn't recognize that she is his cousin. Later on, Iori apologizes to her for not recognizing her since it's been 10 years. Just then, Nanaka mentions Chisa, the same girl Iori noticed emerging from the sea, who he found familiar. Nanaka is sure that he would find her cute, as she is totally changed now. After talking about her, Nanaka and Iori proceed towards the shop. They return to the shop where Katabuki and Takedo convince him to join the club. They insist on him drinking beer because the game will start soon again. Iori is not convinced at all, not ready to be getting dragged into their shenanigans. At the same time, on the way to shop, Chisa's mind ponders with thoughts. She immediately recognized Iori, unlike him. She can't help but recall those silly and goofy memories from 10 years before. Chisa returns to the shop, where she sees Iori stripped down to his boxers, chugging beer. Upon seeing her, Iori greets Chisa but is rejected with extreme disdain, since she never imagined he'd grow up to be so stupid. She leaves, leaving him embarrassed. Simultaneously, he is now motivated to work hard in college to ignore this mess due to the fact that being around Chisa at home will not be very good for him since Nanaka will be on her sister's side too. She is in love with Chisa. After finishing their task with the cleanup, the members of the club decide to leave. They have to catch trains. At that moment, Katabuki and Takeda proceed with coercing Iori into participating in another round of yakuken while promising to get him to his first class the next day on time, given that he has an orientation at 9 a.m. tomorrow. The next morning, Iori wakes up on the floor, where Katabuki and Takeda have already passed out from drinking so much. Iori, who is suffering from nausea and a hangover, is frustrated for being late. It is already 8:45 a.m. Looking around, Iori realizes he is at an unfamiliar location, and people are recording them. Before he could process anything, he noticed that he was in the auditorium of his university. Katabuki and Takeda are proud to make him reach his destination on time, though Iori is just embarrassed. Pressing forward, students murmur in class about Iori passing out in front of the auditorium. Kori Mamura, a student from the class, is studying Iori, but Iori decides to stay away from the students. As soon as he notices Chisa, he tries talking to her, but she neglects him, not wanting students to know that they are cousins. She is ashamed since he is dressed in just his boxers from last night. When a professor comes to take him out for being this way, He hides. While hiding from his pursuer, he runs into the other student from earlier, who introduces himself as Kuhei Imamura. Iori attempts to convince Imamura to give him some clothes but is punched and has to deal with even more security guards instead.
一体何をしたって言うんだ。音と次第によっては助けてやらんでもないが。聞いてくれ。服すら脱がないんだ。警備員さん。また。着ているものを脱いでくれ。
Iori manages to find Nanaka and Katabuki, who are trying to recruit members for the Peekaboo Diving Club. Katabuki agrees to give him some clothes if Iori can recruit another member to the club. He proceeds to find Kuhei and tricks him into joining the diving club. The diving club then starts a drinking party where Iori and Kuhei end up playing drinking games while playing the staring into the eyes game. The two of them wake up the next day hungover and strip down to their boxers sitting in class. Upon arriving from university, Iori spots his uncle, Katabuki, and Takeda in aprons. They are diving later. Meeting Nanaka, she advised him to stay home since he hadn't been home from the day he came here. Katabuki and Takedo insist on coming with them to be drunk, though Iori is not in favor of that. But the others in Peekaboo are planning a mixer with some women from the local Aomi Women's College, so Iori tries to quickly make up his room to convince Nanaka he's responsible enough to go to the mixer. Seeing her not agreeing, Katabuki and Takeda come up with an idea to decorate his room in a way that says he is an independent man. They both aim to transform his room into the room of an adult. Later on, after unpacking, Nanaka is being brought by Iori to his room, and it turns out Katabuki and Takedo decorated his room with erotic posters of girls. Iori had no idea about this disaster, so he is furious at this point. He regrets asking them for help because all he wanted was a normal room for a college student. Though, after a while, Chisa enters his room for something, witnessing him watching explicit material with Katabuki and Takeda. Foolishly, he offers her to watch it as well. He has now had enough of it, so he leaves the room, trusting Katabuki and Takeda one more time. Though Nanaka assures Iori that it is fine since she asked her friend, and she explained to her that it is okay for boys to act this way at this age. Again, Katabuki and Takedo use their dumb minds, taking help from Kuhei Imamura, who pasted posters of the solo life starter set, assuming who better to decorate a freshman room than a freshman. Iori's anger doubles now, but once again, all three of them assure him to fix it. But they are nothing more than idiots. They still stick some weird posters of guys. Not finding any solution, and to impress Nanaka and Chisa, they decide to stick posters of Chisa. Although it was all useless because the efforts they were making to get to the party just postponed it, and even Chisa entered the room, the situation gets worse. He is then isolated in a detached room. The next morning, waking up, Iori finds out all the club members are in his detached room since they have always used it as their club room. Takeda and Katabuki invite their new members to a local pool in order to prepare them for deep sea diving, though Chisa is not ready to join them. However, his father advises her to join, as it is important to learn how beginners act. Iori is also unsure since he can't swim but gets a little motivated when he is informed that most of the divers in their club can't swim, so he shouldn't say no before he has even tried. In the changing room, Iori is being lectured by Katabuki and Takedo to practice a lot. His safety is on the line. This makes Iori realize that these people are really serious when it comes to diving. After they are done changing clothes, Takeda and Katabuki try to help Iori and Kohei get used to being underwater. They start with basics, opening eyes in water. When he couldn't do it, goggles were handed over to him. However, after seeing Takeda rip off Kohei's bottom, Iori can't help but get disgusted. In hope of boosting Iori's confidence, Katabuki instructs him to imagine being in a bath. This includes Iori being completely naked. Chisa, in the changing room, studies herself in the swimsuit. She finds it too much, so she puts an upper on and proceeds towards the pool, where she finds boxers lying on the ground. When she looks around, she finds Iori all naked, calls him a pervert, and excludes herself from the training for now after encountering all of this. After being ashamed and embarrassed, Iori isn't interested in practicing anymore. Later on that night, Nanaka notices Iori being down, offering to go out with her for a bit. Nanaka takes him to a nearby aquarium, though it is kind of fishy for Iori since it is closed and still they are in. However, Chisa works there at times. Therefore, with her help, they got in. Seeing her being so soft and kind with the fishes, Iori is kind of shocked. He never expected Chisa to be this way, because she is always so cold and rude to him. Just then, Iori thinks of studying about fish, maybe then he will be able to swim. Nanaka suggests he not be hard on himself and takes him to an underwater world. Iori is amazed by all of it. He is more amazed when Nanaka informs him that Chisa is the one who told Nanaka to take Iori here. She wanted Iori to know that a beautiful world exists underwater. Katabuki and Takedo feel the same way, that is why they push him to dive. They all understand his fear of water, there is much more to it. It is eye-opening for Iori, he realizes what he has been missing all this time. After arriving from there, Iori hands Chisa a souvenir, his expression of gratitude due to the fact that she asked Nanaka to take Iori there. Chisa pretends to act cool but ends up asking him about his experience. Iori is more than fascinated now and wants to take a closer look than earlier. When he leaves, Chisa stares at the souvenir, finding Iori an idiot because he should have bought something cuter. Iori freakingly wakes up after having a dream of him being a girl in a girl's uniform.
新人のいおりちゃんです。
いらっしゃいませ。指名ありがとう。
Gasping for air, he opens the door of his room, finding Kotiko and Katabuki with the same girl's uniform he saw in his dream earlier. Both Kuhei Imamura and Iori are not in agreement about wearing it and face second-hand embarrassment when Chisa walks in, calling them perverts as she accuses them of staring at a girl's uniform. They both clarify that it is for diving, making her realize it is that time of the year again.
で男子高校生用なんですか。
変態。
違うぞさ。
There is an Izu festival held every May. In that festival, there is an event called the Inter-Club Men's Beauty Pageant. The winning club gets some prize money. Katabuki and Takoti want Kuhei and Iori to enter that contest. Even Chisa watched that event last year, though Kuhei is convinced about wearing an outfit like that and getting laughed at. However, Kuhei is left speechless when he is being called pretty by Takoti so that he would agree to join the contest. Later on, they wear their swimming costumes. Katabuki is making Iori practice. He teaches him to use a regulator in order to breathe. He dives into the water but eventually comes out early repeatedly since he is scared of deep water. Lastly, he tries going in again, ending up struggling for oxygen as water leaked into his mask, probably because it was too loose. To lighten the situation, Katabuki shows him a spare regulator. It is something that can be given to your partner if they run out of air, and the weight belt always faces the same way. It is so they can remove it quickly if something happens. It's not only for personal safety but for partners diving as well. Being fully assured, Iori finally dives into the deep water. He is shocked that he is actually under the sea and really did it. Looking at the surroundings, he can't help but be amazed by the scenario, life underwater. As soon as he is successful diving for the first time, Iori rushes to Chisa and explains to her that he finally feels how to go to outer space and experience zero gravity. Chisa doesn't show it but is deeply happy about this achievement of his. To celebrate this stuff, they knock back beers. The next morning, Iori wakes up next to a half woman. Iori is horrified by this sight since he wasn't expecting this in his wildest dreams.
It should have been me, not him! It's not fair!
Takedo and Katabuki wake up and explain that their club is an intercollegiate club, a club with members from different colleges, so she is Azusa Hamoka from Aomi Women's University. They don't consider her a traditional woman at all. They suggest not treating her like a girl, or they will end up fooling themselves. Before waking her up, they both inform him of something important about the Izu Spring Festival. Later on, Azusa makes breakfast for them, while Iori tells Kuhei that they will be selling okonomiyaki at the Izu Spring Festival since the sales will go to fund their club. Katabuki and Takedo have decided to teach freshmen how to make these. Just then both of them leave in order to prep the equipment. As they leave, Kuhei and Iori get a flashback of something important they were informed of by Katabuki and Takedo earlier. It wasn't about the male pageant, but they want Kuhei and Iori to convince Chisa to do the women's beauty pageant. They want Chisa to enter so that they can get more funds for their club. The fact that if she wins, both these guys will not be having any need to enter the male pageant anymore. This is like the cherry on the cake for them, so both Iori and Kuhei agree on convincing her. Later, while Takeda and Katabuki are running an errand, Iori, Kuhei, and Chisa are training to make the okonomiyaki that they will be making at the club's shop during the festival. They decide to put her in an abnormal condition due to the fact that she won't agree under any circumstances. In that case, they plan to get her drunk to enter the pageant. To execute their plan, they pretend that it's hot, ending up mixing oolong tea with whiskey and vodka. Kuhei already explained to Iori that alcohol is in his right hand, so the right hand's for Chisa. Though their plan backfires when Chisa refuses to drink the tea and Azusa convinces them to have the drink instead. However, their plan doesn't really go accordingly.
何作ってるの？
ごへん、お茶だ。 不可抗力だったんだ。
When they are done training for okonomiyaki, both Kuhei and Iori again try to give Chisa beer, pretending to celebrate. Chisa again denies it. Instead, Azusa takes the beer. Azusa then mentions how Nanaka talked on call with her about those posters. Iori realizes she is the same friend Nanaka was talking about a few days back. However, Azusa is out of control now, trying to tempt Iori. She is amazed that someone has the same interests as her. Realizing the wastage of time, once again they try getting her drunk.
実は私もどっちもいける口なんだ。いやー、同じ趣味の子がいるっていうのはいいよね。
But on getting suspicious, Azusa confronts Chisa about them wanting her to enter a women's beauty pageant. They both beg her, but Azusa suggests to them that it won't work. If they are going to ask her for something, they should provide a solid reason for it. Nervously, they reveal the prize money and about them not entering the male pageant. Later that night, Azusa beats the young men in Yakukan, then convinces Chisa to give the beauty pageant a shot. The morning after, Takeda and Katabuki announce that Chisa has agreed to enter the women's pageant under the condition that Iori and Kuhei enter the men's pageant as well. The whole Peekaboo Club is excited for the festival. Fireworks mark the opening of the Izu Spring Festival, and Peekaboo members cheer in excitement, with the exception of Chisa. However, for Iori and Kuhei, their initial excitement at the Izu Spring Festival fades when they realize they have to man their club's okonomiyaki stand for most of it. Katabuki is genuinely grateful to them for their hard work, but before they could relax, they realize they have some competition. It also doesn't improve their situation when they have to compete with the more popular stand run by the tennis club, Tinkerbell. It's a club with lots of cute guys and the highest ratio of girls. Just then, Azusa arrives at the location with her revealing clothes. Chisa, being embarrassed, offers her a shirt. Although the shirt is too tight on her, Iori and she go to buy her a shirt from the festival. While walking, she talks to him about his preferences in guys. That is when he realizes what she said earlier about both Iori and her having the same interests, meaning she is into guys and girls both. Iori tries to clarify that he is not bi, but when he sees Azusa being comfortable while talking about her sexuality with him, he doesn't disclose anything, though he is embarrassed when she keeps demanding to know his type.
お前には悪いことをしたと思ってる。貴様、俺を何に巻き込みやがった。
Later on, after arriving at the cart, Iori and Kuhei meet Katabuki and Takedo. They have decided to go out for drinking with some other clubs they interact with. With pure happiness, Iori agrees, thinking there would be cute girls, but it turns out the club is called the Rugby Club, where 3 gigantic, terrifying guys are the members. Iori can't help but think how unlucky they are. Moving forward, the guys from Tinkerbell try to talk to Chisa and Azusa, but being possessive of both Iori and Kuhei makes them leave. At the same time, Azusa wants to switch their shifts so that she can work with Iori. She wants him to spill the tea about how things went with Kuhei, since she thinks Iori is into Kuhei. By begging Chisa, he ends up working with her, avoiding Azusa. While working, Iori suggests Chisa get ready since the beauty pageant will be by 4 o'clock. Upon hearing that she would go simply the way she is dressed, Nakana and Azusa come from behind, convincing her to let people notice her because she is so cute. Grabbing her, they take Chisa away for her makeover. Later that afternoon, the women's beauty pageant begins. Some other girl performs first, named Aina. Her makeup is visibly more than a lot. Although after her performance, Chisa takes the stage in a dress but is noticeably harsh on stage. Seeing this, the rest of the club members attempt to increase her appeal. They think she is awkward or worried, and in that case, she might lose easily. They try to come up with an idea and ask suggestions from Kuhei, due to the fact that he is into a lot of games and is a mastermind. They all try to make her laugh, but they end up taking Kuhei's worst idea. Iori comes up with a plan for them to throw together super balls that he won earlier to lift Chisa's dress up from afar. They all are very well aware that by doing this Chisa will definitely kill them. Still, they proceed on doing it in order to make her nervously laugh. His plan works, but Iori soon realizes that his club left him alone on the task, making him the sole target for Chisa's rage. Chisa is left being embarrassed on the stage. Sensing the danger, both Iori and Kuhei hide behind the bushes while Chisa is searching for them around with a bat in her hand to beat the shit out of them.
さっさと処刑されたらどうだ。
Meanwhile, Iori hides with Kuhei. A keiki girl, the same girl who performed earlier before Chisa, suddenly appears and asks Kuhei to go out with her, but he refuses. Before the men's beauty pageant starts that evening, the club holds a brief drinking party. Iori immediately explains to Chisa that all he did was to draw out her charm and wanted the audience to see how cute she is. Though Chisa pressures Iori into drinking 2 liters of shochu as her revenge. Just then, Azusa arrives, informing everyone about the tennis guy flirting with her. At the same time, the 3 terrifying guys from the rugby club appear there. After a while, Iori and Kuhei go outside to buy drinks from a vending machine, and as they return, they see Aina, who is drunk, crying outside their room. She complains that her friends from the tennis club saw her as a joke and rejected her from their group. Hearing this, Iori says that he knows how to cheer her up. At the men's pageant, Kyudo, the captain of the tennis club, competes against Kuhei for Azusa's love. This turns out to be a ruse set by Iori, who disguises himself as Azusa in the hope of embarrassing Kyudo in front of the crowd and, in turn, cheering Aina up. Later, Chisa and Iori are declared as the winners of their respective pageants. As they celebrate, Aina thanks both Iori and Kuhei for their act while they drink from the wash tubs. This series of events, however, upsets Chisa, who seemingly feels unappreciated by Iori. The next day, while running the stand, Chisa, fueled by her newfound fame, is surrounded by a group of men who are trying to ask her out. Annoyed by this, she tries to seek Iori and Kuhei help but finds that they are too wasted to do anything. Later, as Chisa and a wasted Iori are honored on stage, she declares that Iori is her boyfriend, both as revenge and thinking it will make the pervert and creep guys go away from her. As a result, the men in the audience erupt in pure rage and call for Iori's death. While waiting for the class to start, Iori and Kuhei notice that all the men in their class are glaring menacingly at them. Kuhei doesn't understand the reason behind this since they are always the same. The one thing they are totally okay about is them wearing boxers only in their class. They think of asking those guys, but in fear of getting ignored, they don't let them discuss it with them. Iori takes the initiative to question them but ends up embarrassing himself. Curious about what's going on, Kuhei suggests Iori talk to Chisa about it, but she has been in a bad mood ever since the Izu Spring Festival. However, when they turn to see Chisa, she is surprisingly in a good mood, waving at them. Not understanding the situation, Iori tries to ask Chisa for answers, but their conversation takes a different and surprising turn as Chisa offers him to talk in his room instead after they get back home. This response doubles the men's rage. At this point, Iori is more than eager to know the reason. Just then, a poster is thrown at a wall on which the men have threatened Iori to break up with Chisa or he will be killed. They both are very well aware that Chisa is up to something. At this moment, however, Kuhei is happiest to discover that their rage is only directed towards Iori. Unwilling to let Kuhei slip out from the situation, Iori traps him by lying about his relationship with Azusa so that he is the target too. In an instant, Chisa left for lunch, and because of their perceived luck with women, both Iori and Kuhei receive letters containing death threats from a number of men. Afterwards, while having lunch, Iori and Kuhei are approached by their classmates, led by Najima and Yamamoto, who proceed to ask for the secret of getting or using hypnosis to get a girlfriend while being perverted. And in return, they will help them get out of the trouble they are in since they are from the same department and class. Hearing them being desperate about girls and mocking them about using hypnosis, Iori demands them to leave. But when they find out that Iori and Kuhei couldn't help them, they directly plan to kill both of them and bury them in the mountains behind the clubroom. No one goes there. Seeing the shovel, Iori and Kuhei try to plead for mercy but to no avail, causing the two men to panic and buy their way out by promising to hold a mixer because those guys aren't ready to listen to any of their explanations. Later that day, Iori and Kuhei beg Azusa to help them set up the mixer and introduce them to her friend. Firstly, she doesn't agree and suggests Iori ask Chisa for help, yet she is obviously in a bad mood and was only pretending to be nice to Iori in class so that the guys believe that they are together. Fortunately, Azusa agrees but on the condition that Iori has to pretend to be Chisa's boyfriend until Chisa accepts it. After Iori agrees to the condition, not having much of a choice, Azusa leaves the shop and later brings in a young woman who introduces herself as a new member of Peekaboo. Seeing her, both of their jaws drop, finding her so beautiful. Katabuki and Takoti find it pretty good, as the girl will join their club too if Azusa has found her, but Azusa reveals that she didn't find her, but Iori and others did. This spreads confusion in the air. After learning her name, Iori and Kuhei realize that she is actually the keiki girl they met during the Izu Spring Festival, but without her makeup on. Though she has been welcomed to the club due to the fact that she has decided to leave Tinkerbell and join the Peekaboo Club. At the time of the mixer, Iori and Kuhei head to a bar with Najima and Yamamoto. They are pretty nervous as they are not sure if they should let Aina handle this. On the way to the bar, they question Iori about how the girls are and beat him up when Iori pretends and confesses that Chisa is his girlfriend just because of the condition Azusa made earlier. When they enter the bar, the men are shocked to see Aina and her three friends all wearing keiki makeup. Despite this, Yamamoto continues on and tries to attract one of the women as they all introduce themselves. They are shocked to see Yamamoto so desperate, since since the girls are all cakey. He still wants to be with one of them just to be with a girl and brag. Seeing his resolve, Iori, Kuhei, and Najima decide to support Yamamoto by becoming his wingmen. They want the girls to be more friendly with them, so they try different methods like calling them by their first name and all. This goes on for a while until they see a picture of Kanako without makeup and find out that she's actually a beautiful woman. Due to this revelation, the rest of the men begin to sabotage each other as they try to impress her. They act like they have the same interests as her. At first Kuhei wasn't interested, but when he gets to know about her interest in anime, he starts being clingy too. Iori comes up with a plan to work together to achieve victory. If one of them becomes friends, they can do another mixer. Cleverly, he takes his sweet time to talk to the girl. The other guys are jealous, but in order to attend another mixer, they stay calm. Out of jealousy, Kuhei reveals to the girls that Iori has a girlfriend so that he has a chance to talk to the girls, but the girls seem more interested in food. Eventually, the mixer ends, and as the women leave, the men see them laughing since they enjoy the zoo rather than liking any of them. All the guys are furious, suggesting they go and look in the mirror first and then call them animals. The men go off drinking elsewhere while the women retreat to a cafe, and Aina starts showing signs of having feelings for Iori. At the same time, Iori is furious at Kuhei. Kanako would have said okay if the guys hadn't gotten in the way. As it nears the time for the German language test, Iori begs Chisa to sit near him during the test so he can cheat off of her, to which Chisa profusely refuses. He only wants to sit next to them to let them see answers, but he ends up apologizing to Kuhei, Najima, and Yamamoto as he couldn't help them either. Since they couldn't rely on Chisa's help, Iori comes up with a plan to see how small he can photocopy his notes. As they do, small photocopies are printed, though the stuff on them can be read. Some other guys see them planning, so they also request Iori to let them in. Iori, Kuhei, and their classmates discuss how to sneak cheat sheets inside the venue. Each of them comes out with their own plan, like putting these in a pencil box, under a drink label, or inside a towel, or hiding it in their biceps, and Iori thinks of hiding it on the back of his fan. As soon as they enter their class, the professor announces to put away pencil boxes and no eating or drinking. At the same time, Najima, who came up with the plan to put the notes on the bicep, is freaked out too because the letters smudged from his sweat. When the professor sees all the students struggling, he gives the students an option. Translate what he is about to say into German and write it on the back.
第1問裸でバナナを持つ男
講義中に何の話をしていたサービスの意味を誰か教えてやれ
Anyway, all their plans failed, and they now have to retake the test because they all did very poorly. The fact that if they get over 10 points, they pass, and if they get over 20, they get an A. Pressing forward, Aina is interested in joining Iori's club. Like she said earlier, it is such a grown-up hobby as she is interested in what is in the ocean and going diving with college friends on a tropical island. Later, a party is held in Grand Blue for Aina, who is being officially inducted into Peekaboo. She introduces herself and clarifies that she is interested in diving, but she has never tried it before. Although she freaks out when the guys remove their clothes, obviously it is standard for them but unusual and messed up for Aina. At the same time, Aina is a little relieved that Chisa and Nanaka are at least normal. However, when the party starts, she perceives herself as the only sane member of the group as each of them displays behaviors that she deems to be abnormal. The party drags on until only the main group is left. As the after party is about to begin, Aina begs the others to put on some clothes before going to the convenience store with Chisa. While waiting for them to return, Iori and Kuhei get into an argument when Kuhei spots bamboo shoots instead of the mushrooms, claiming that mushrooms are better and bamboo shoots are tasteless. When the fight starts to heat up, Kotoki advises them to relax and solve things with a game, which leads them to play a Pocky game in order to resolve their argument. It was obviously Azusa's plan to bring Kuhei and Iori closer to each other. In order to get some Pocky, Azusa texts Chisa and Aina about this game. However, this shocks both of them, wondering what happened when they left. By the time Aina and Chisa return to the shop, they find the others in the middle of Yakukan, which infuriates Aina. Aina freaks out seeing them like this, though Iori explains that they were playing Yakukan just to decide who plays the Pocky game. But Aina has no problem with them playing, and she is just annoyed and embarrassed by them stripping for playing. On the day after the party, Takeda and Katabuki try to run the new members through hand signals, which are essential for their next diving trip. But since none of them are able to pass, they spend the rest of the day learning them. During this, Nanaka finds out that Iori is having trouble bonding with Chisa. The next day, Nanaka pairs Iori and Chisa up as diving buddies in hopes of strengthening their bond. Aina is living her worst nightmare because she even sees girls wearing swimsuits. Guessing that Chisa isn't like this, she turns to her so that she can complain to Chisa, but she is also in her swimsuit. They head out to sea for their diving session. However, Nanaka has paired up Chisa with her Iori to strengthen their bond, and due to the fact that she is easy when she is in the ocean. While diving, Iori notices Chisa's true nature. She is not mad at Iori at this moment and is serious so that an accident doesn't happen in order for them to enjoy underwater. In that case, Iori begins to enjoy diving with her. After they resurface, each of the new members, with the exception of Chisa, expresses their enjoyment of being underwater. When Nanaka sees Iori is having a conversation with Chisa, she comments that she is glad that her plan about pairing them for diving worked. However, this turns out to be short-lived when Chisa seemingly pushes Iori into the sea as a retaliation for his comments regarding her butt. After finishing their German language makeup exam, the guys are relieved for now. They are sure they haven't failed this time. Iori's classmates decide to go to his place at Grand Blue both to celebrate and to check if he really is living with Chisa, as mentioned by Kuhei earlier. Though Iori is pissed about the fact that whenever they hang out, it always has to be his place, and he is scared that if they find out he is actually living with them, he might get killed. He wants to escape this situation, looking at Kuhei to be saved. But Kuhei has an evil smile on his face, enjoying seeing him scared. Fearing that his classmates might find out that not only is he living with Chisa but also Nanaka, Iori immediately rushes back, explaining that the guys from college said they are coming over today. Nanaka finds no issue in it and is happy that his friends are arriving, though Iori begs Nanaka to not be at the shop for the remainder of the day or hide somewhere. Nanaka doesn't understand the reason behind his urgency, but seeing him pleading and revealing that his life is at stake, she doesn't say much. When his classmates arrive, all the guys from Iori's class examine the diving shop. Iori hurriedly brings them to his room so that he can hide Nanaka and Chisa this way, only for them to find Azusa's bra and Aina's keiki costume lying on the room's floor. They all call him a traitor, but Iori lies, calling this a game that is played by his club. Examining the bra, the guys come to a conclusion that it can't be Chisa's since it is huge, and since it is left in the room, the girls won't be leaving without it. Little do they know that Azusa isn't a normal girl. This causes Iori to panic as his classmates begrudgingly ask for answers. However, when they find Iori's bodycon costume along with a brochure containing job advertisements, they begin to wonder if the questionable items are actually being used by Iori. They now find Iori weird and dangerous, doubting that he might be gay. Regardless, they leave Iori be and begin drinking in his room. They all judge the taste of the beer by how bitter it tastes at the start. During this, Yamamoto goes outside for some fresh air, and by the time he returns, he brings a picture with him, declaring that he has seen an angel, who turns out to be Nanaka. Just then, Yamamoto confesses that when he saw her, he just wanted to date her. Despite getting negative feedback from his friends that he is not a good match for her, he decides to go back outside to kneel down and beg Nanaka to be with him. In a few minutes, Yamamoto comes back to the detached room crying and half-stripped while the guys guess if the girl will happen to be with him or not. Unfortunately, he ends up running into several men implied to be Peekaboo's members who strip him of his clothes except his boxers while he was trying to go to the beach. To lighten the situation and to stop him from crying, all the guys cheer him up to knock down beer. Anyway, he was going to get rejected, so God saved him somehow from that humiliation too. At this point, they even believe that Iori isn't living with Chisa. They are about to continue with their drinking when Chisa comes to the room, revealing that Iori indeed lives with her. All the guys are in utter disbelief. After she runs away in panic, Iori tries running away too but is easily chased by his classmates and gets a beating from his classmates, which results in Iori being covered in bandages the next day. The next day at the breakfast table, Nanaka realizes that Iori wasn't lying about his life being at stake. Seeing his condition causes Chisa to feel guilty, and she apologizes. After a few days, Takeda and Katabuki announce that Tinkerbell has announced their second place prize money in a doubles tennis match against Peekaboo in order to get revenge for the humiliation their captain incurred at the Izu Spring Festival. On the day of the match, they started with Takeda and Katabuki playing in the first match. Seeing his club members are losing against the pair's raw power, Kyudo decides to play dirty by spiking their drink with strong alcohol, causing them to get drunk. Iori then retaliates by doing the same thing on the opposing team, earning Peekaboo's first win. In the second match, Chisa and Aina are able to gain momentum through Chisa's effort, but the people's compliments make her feel embarrassed about her tennis outfit. At the same time, she plays really nicely. Seeing them play so well, the opposing team girls plan to target the weak one, Aina, first, but when she gets a compliment on her body, it causes them to lose the match. Finally, in the final match, all the guys take their positions. The captain of Tinkerbell's ship is filled with rage to take revenge for his humiliation. Meanwhile, Iori shows surprising skill at tennis. The opposing team is in disbelief since they weren't expecting this outcome, but his partner Kuhei can't even hit the ball over the net, forcing Iori to take drastic drastic measures by trying to smash the ball against their opponent in an effort to knock them out, calling those guys tough opponents. But little does he know that they aren't tough, he is just a noob. After a few failed attempts, Iori decides to knock Kuhei out instead by hitting the tennis ball at his head. With Kuhei falling unconscious, Iori uses this excuse to switch with Takeda and Katabuki, who easily win the match by the margin of 2 points. Iori's whole club is pretty impressed by his skills, so he clarifies that he got trained after the entrance exams were over because of the fact that he heard playing tennis would get guys a girlfriend. With their extra winnings from the match secured, the club gets the prize money and plans an outing to Okinawa. Iori and Kuhei are anxious at first, but when they take a look at the magazine, it shows the beautiful underwater world of Okinawa, and the guys can't help but feel grateful towards Katabuki and Takeda for planning this for them. But in reality, Takeda and Katabuki plan this to drink Okinawa liquor. As Iori Kitahara and Kuhei Mamura are getting excited for their trip to Okinawa, which includes the blazing sun, deep sea, and, to their assumptions, mermaids, Shinji Takeda enters the shop offering a part-time job at a moving company to them since they didn't have enough money to buy diving equipment, and with that job it would be easier for them to earn money for the trip. Though they thought the tennis prize money was helpful, it will only cover travel expenses and the rest out of pocket. The next day, the exhausted duo are approached by Chisa Kotgawa, Aina Yoshiwara, and Azusa Hamoka, asking what happened to them, to which they reply that they have money trouble as they had spent most of their earnings on a bar tab as soon as they earned their payment. They realize that earning money is no easy feat, as the job is at a moving company, but they don't really save money. The three girls don't really give any sympathy to them because as they sow, they will reap. They should have been more mindful about spending money. When asked further by Azusa on Takeda's whereabouts, Iori answers that he had gone out to earn back their spent money. Aina then realizes that Ryujiro Katabuki also has gone out for work, which leads Iori and Kuhei to speculate on what his part-time job is. They guess that maybe he is a show dancer or advertising a brothel. Seeing this, Azusa invites the rest to see Katabuki at his workplace. After some time, they arrive at a bar called Bar Routes, where Katabuki works part-time as a bartender. Witnessing this, Iori and Kuhei fall silent, since they were assuming it to be a brothel or something. But to their surprise, Katabuki is working pretty decently. When the girls, including Aina, go through the menu, they are delighted to see such cheap prices, so Katabuki explains that the owner wants this bar to be a place where even students can have fun. In an instant, the manager arrives, welcoming them since they are Katabuki's friends. Without hesitating, Kuhei and Iori ask him directly about the time the manager will be firing Katabuki, but instead the manager praises Katabuki for being famous among the customers. Just then, a female customer arrives, explaining to Katabuki about the situation of her liking a guy but not having the courage to confess. Him consoling the girl made her like Katabuki more than she liked that random guy.
マスター、彼の頭にナイフを。
やめなさい。
Iori and Kuhei assume that the job is making Katabuki look good. Despite that, Azusa is well aware that the job suits Katabuki because he is pure and says nice things. Watching his work intrigues Iori and Kuhei to try tending the bar themselves. Hearing this, the bar manager offers them a taste of how it would feel to be a bartender. After changing into a bartender's suit, Iori and Kuhei begin tending to Aina's order by mimicking Katabuki but unfortunately fail as they don't know a thing about cocktail names and how to mix them, which infuriates Aina since she asked for a screwdriver drink. Firstly, they mix vodka with orange juice and then put an actual screwdriver in it. Seeing them struggle, the manager hands them the recipe book for drinks. As Iori and Kuhei begin to argue with each other about their own blunder, the manager asks about the nature of their relationship to Katabuki and Azusa. As they both are always together, both Azusa and Katabuki reply, informing him that their relationship is a one. To confirm this, the manager proceeds to ask if Iori is dating someone. Pressured to act like he's in a relationship with Chisa, Iori agrees. Due to his misunderstanding of their answer and Iori's response, the manager mistakenly deduces that Iori is romantically involved with Kuhei. Feeling shocked, the manager reached for the drink made by Kuhei to ease his nerves. However, the drink is proved to be too strong for him, causing him to collapse from drunkenness.
このまま寝られたら知りませんからね。
After sobering up the manager, Iori and the rest leave the bar. Later that night, Iori and Kuhei join their classmates to hang out at Shinichiro Yamamoto's house. After a few drinks, Yamamoto seriously wonders why he doesn't have a girlfriend, and because the topic is about girlfriends, all the guys get frustrated at Iori for having a girlfriend and then laugh it off by remembering the other day when Midori put weed in Iori's mouth when he passed out and called it Ikebana. They decide to invite Midori to join them when they realize that he has solemnly joined them for anything. When Iori calls him, he finds out that Midori is busy with his girlfriend, which leads his classmates to sabotage their night together. After arriving at Midori's house, they begin to call out for Midori to pick up his package, claiming to bring the assorted collection of 200 videos he ordered to ruin the couple's intimate moment. After a few failed attempts, Kuhei, who is initially impassive, joins in and begins mimicking women's voices after he discovers that the girl used to be Midori's childhood friend. His tactic works flawlessly, which leads the girl to furiously storm out of the house, doubting the fact that he ever even loved her, with Midori following behind.
ねえユウくん、この子たち誰なの？いるんでしょ？
Trying to persuade her, promising to cut off his friends as they are playing tricks. The guys are pissed, calling him a traitor, but as he watches from afar, Iori notes to others that Midori is as rotten as they are. He is the same loser who wants a girlfriend for him. This proves to be true as Midori asks the girl if he could meet another girl as they're no longer a couple, which results in him getting pummeled as he flies off in the air. Seeing him flying in the air, the guys are happy, declaring him to be their best friend, due to the fact that he is just like them. All the guys are laughing at Midori for being beaten up by a girl while drinking beer. Midori is annoyed by their mindset because if this is what they keep doing, then all of them will be single forever. But Najima reminds everyone of what Iori said earlier about making female friends in the last mixer so that another mixer can be set up. Najima then convinces Iori to set up the mixer as he is the guy with the girlfriend. Scared, Iori denies it at first, but with the offer of 5,000 yen per person, he gladly agrees. Later on, Kuhei and Iori discuss how to make Chisa agree. Kuhei doesn't seem interested in helping, but as soon as he is given the idea of a fair share, Kuhei plans to get her to play a penalty game. Later on at the diving shop, serving sashimi, Iori asks Aina and Chisa if they would like to have some, and as soon as they hold the chopsticks in their hands, Iori distributes the sticks to everyone, suggesting they draw one. Not having much of a choice, both Chisa and Aina decide to play for once. Just then, the game begins, and Azusa becomes the king first. Smartly, she gets out of the game, demanding that everyone play the game till the end except for her. Because she is the king, they all end up obeying her. A few hours earlier, Iori already had talked about this with Azusa and Nanaka, and to his surprise, they agreed, as they had their own plans in mind. Azusa wanted to trick Nanaka, and Nanana wanted to trick Chisa. Now back in the present, in round 2 Azusa becomes the king again. She orders numbers 1 through 7 to take something off, so all the guys take off their clothes, and when it comes to the girls, Azusa provokes Nanaka to remove her. But before she could do it, Aina abruptly instructs them to remove a pair of socks or something. Just like that, the game continues. After a few times, Kuhei becomes the king. The ray of hope splashes Iori's face, so now all they have to do is find out what number Chisa drew. They rig these chopsticks so the ones with unequal lengths are odd, and the regular ones are even. The ones with round tips are in the first half, and the square ones are in the second half. Therefore, from the looks of those chopsticks, Chisa is either 1 or 3. Kuhei looked at Iori, who held up a finger that could have meant either 1 or 3. However, Kuhei misunderstood and thought Iori meant 4. Because of that, he decided to introduce his friends to player number 4 at the next party. While fighting, they reveal that they were onto something for money and women. But the worst nightmare comes to reality when they get to know number 4 is Takeda. Later on that night, they all meet Giant Hunks, Takeda's friends, obeying Kuhei's order. The next morning, Aina and Chisa are being informed by Iori and Kuhei that they are going to be event staff, as Azusa introduced them. After getting back to the diving shop, Takeda takes them all to the diving gear. All the club members are looking at the place in awe, wondering what to buy. The shop manager said rentals were okay in the beginning. While explaining about the devices and gears, they all take a look around. Chisa then shows a device to Iori, which lets people talk underwater. It picks up sound through bones. Later on, Chisa and Aina go to see swimsuits, and that is when Aina questions Chisa if she is dating Iori, but her face told the truth, though she doesn't understand what all that was at the Izu Spring Festival, so Chisa explains that the festival was troubling her, so she said it. Seeing Iori changing clothes in the hallway, Chisa points out that one of the reasons why she wouldn't date Iori is this. At that moment, they realize Kuhei has disappeared. In that case, Iori takes a round of the place and finds Kuhei bowing down in front of the wetsuits. Kuhei wasn't planning on buying one, but now he wants it since it is such a unique design. Though it's women's wear, to make him a little satisfied, Iori makes Chisa and Aina wear it, which makes Kuhei happy for the time being. Afterwards, while everyone decides to buy a mask, Iori's gaze shifts towards Chisa, who is studying a camera, wondering if maybe she wants to capture what she finds underwater. After getting back, Nanaka, who didn't go shopping, is impressed by their hard work. Since going on the tour is hella expensive, still, they all bought new gear. This makes them do more work. The girls, including Aina, sell posters while wearing stealing clothes, and the guys handle the traffic situation to earn money. This makes Aina cry because she didn't want to be that revealing in front of people, but Iori finds it ridiculous as they are all naked all the damn time. After doing a lot of preparations, the time of their trip to Okinawa finally arrived, and they have finally reached their destination, eager to explore what comes their way. Aina can't help but scream in excitement because of the tropical islands, while the guys are excited to drink beer. They will be living in a beautiful apartment for 3 nights. Afterwards, Katabuki, Takeda, Iori, and Kuhei are in the same room that is actually designed for a room of 2 people. Being uncomfortable, they ignore that and begin to go to the beach first. Aina happily arrives at the beach but then is freaked out by seeing all the guys naked. Just then, she insisted everyone hang out at a different spot. Upon arriving there, Iori examines a notice of beach rental equipment being inquired about there. They all decide to get beach umbrellas, but just then the owner offers them a free umbrella if their service is being used, which is banana boats. Iori isn't interested, but Kuhei convinces him to, in order to decide where they sleep while using banana boats. Whoever falls first loses. Upon being challenged, Iori quickly agrees. Before they could go, Chisa warned Iori that he might end up being in the water, but Iori was okay since they would be having life vests, and he couldn't always stay scared of water. However, 3 people could hop on it, so Chisa joined Kuhei and Iori too. Both the guys put tanning oil on the handle so that one of them falls first. But both end up being in trouble because they both did the same thing. As soon as the boat starts, both of them try to distract each other while Chisa sits there blankly. At the same time, Aina and all the people looking at them from afar assume that they are having fun. But in reality it is pure misery. Both Keipuhei and Iori end up falling off the boat when they both pour oil at each other's feet. Aina also wants to enjoy it with Iori, but she is riding the boat with Katabuki and Takeda, which she wasn't expecting to be so stable. Back at their place, Chisa informs them about their license class starting tomorrow so that they can review the booklet. About their beds, Katabuki informs everyone that Kuhei won by the height of the waves. They all know, though, that it is a problem since it will be dangerous to do the license class without enough sleep. In that case, Iori sleeps with Nanaka and Azusa. The whole night, Iori couldn't sleep because of the girls being surrounded by him. He kept texting Kuhei to let him in their room, but he is sleeping peacefully. The next morning, all the club members look at the text Kuhei got from Iori, thinking that he wasn't going to do well either way in the test, so it doesn't matter. After Iori arrives downstairs, both Iori and Kuhei get into an argument about getting a higher score. In that case, Katabuki plans to test them. All of them question Kuhei and Iori about diving and are shocked to see him answering all the questions without hesitation. Despite that, Iori informs everyone that he spent the whole night reading that booklet that was given. He studied hard without letting his eyes get strayed, but in an instant talked about female body parts in his answer and fumbled, making everyone realize that he was distracted a lot that night. However, when Nanaka and Azusa come out of the room, they are revealing themselves so much that all the guys are in shock, so Nanaka and Chisa take them back to their rooms. Seeing that, Katabuki questions Iori about how he slept in that situation. Therefore, Iori reveals that he made himself black out. After breakfast, Iori, Kuhei, and Aina are giving the test. Worried, Chisa peeks at Iori's test, finding out weird stuff written on it about girls' body parts. Although they all passed, Iori got beaten up by Chisa for that mistake. After giving the test and being explained about the gears and equipment, they all go diving. They make mistakes but are taught to overcome them by Nanaka and Chisa. Simultaneously, Iori and Kuhei again get into an argument about the final pressure, but when Kuhei suggests that they could have continued diving by having them ascend first, everyone explains to him that diving is a group activity. If one person ascends, then everyone ascends. Hearing that, Aina gets flashbacks of getting treated poorly by her old teammates, who always put her down and made her feel left out. Seeing her zoned out, everyone starts worrying for her and assures her to rest if she feels sick or tired, but Aina reassures them that she's alright. Diving back again, Aina observes everyone being busy admiring the beauty of the ocean, and while she understands why they all wish to stay underwater forever because of her low pressure, all of them got back. Though Iori saw her hesitating before telling the pressure, Iori discusses it with her, revealing that he knew she had the lowest pressure, so suddenly she confesses angrily that she didn't want everyone to ascend because of her. Iori is shocked because he thought she would lie to win, but all she was trying to do was to keep them away from trouble. That being said, Iori takes her to everyone and explains that situation to them. Azusa makes her understand to stop lying, as safety is important, and if she talks to her seniors with such respect, then her seniors are also forgiving. Something like that happening is quite natural. Even Katabuki and Takeda agree with Azusa and assure Aina about teaching her some tricks to not use air in an instant. All of this assurance makes Aina a little emotional, as she was never treated with such politeness. Everything goes alright in the end, but just then Nanaka comes to Iori, confronting him that something is wrong. At this rate, he is the one who is lacking points and he might fail. Back at their apartment, Iori can't help but think of the second-hand embarrassment he would be facing if all his club members knew about him failing. He recalls Nanaka informing him about him not being good at mask clearing. Fortunately, Iori has a mask, and there is a pool and the ocean nearby, yet the only problem is how to practice without his club members finding out. Judging by his behavior, Chisa finds Iori suspicious since he is thinking about plans to make them all go away. However, Katabuki and Takeda call out for everyone as they are going out to rent a car. At the car rental shop, all the members are stuck badly in the car, while Katabuki and Takeda are sitting on top of the car's roof because the shop's manager mixed up 4 people and 8 people. In that case, as an expression of apology, the manager decided to give them a convertible with lots of room in the back seat, though it ends up being an open truck instead of a car. The truck is driven by Aina since it is manual, and in that small car, Azusa, Nanaka, and Chisa are riding. As soon as they arrive at the market, looking at a variety of ingredients, it makes it hard for everyone to choose what item they want. Just then, Aina decides to see what others are trying to buy and overhears Azusa flirting with an old man, not believing what she heard. After a while, she sees Takeda, so she follows him, hearing him asking a lady for Hamasaki's wife, which traumatizes Aina at this point. She discusses this with Keipuhei and Chisa, though they don't believe any word she is saying, so she suggests they follow her. As the 3 of them follow Takeda, they hear him asking for a chubby high school student from a shopkeeper. This makes all 2 of their jaws drop, with the exception of Chisa, because she discovers that these are the names of the fishes. At the same time, they hear Iori asking for a poisonous fish, which causes Iori and Kuhei to fight later on when they arrive at the place they are staying. Pressing forward, all of them are given chits in order to choose who cooks first in pairs. This is a good sign for Iori. If he can get Kuhei paired up with Aina, he can practice while they are cooking, so he just wishes to be paired up with Chisa, and with all the hope picks up a chit that is the same as Chisa's, so they both are paired. Seeing his urge to be paired up with Chisa, Azusa gets the wrong idea about him doing all this just to make Kuhei jealous. After Katabuki and Takeda's cooking turn, it is time for Iori and Chisa. While making food, Iori thinks of discussing everything with Chisa so that he can ask for help, though Aina arrives at the kitchen, hearing him asking Chisa out, not knowing that he only asked her for practice. Aina freaks out, never expecting Chisa to be expecting his proposal, as she was never into him. Getting back from the kitchen, Aina is angrily eating popcorn but doesn't tell Kuhei a thing. Being sure about her getting the wrong idea, Kuhei goes to the kitchen, hearing Iori telling Chisa to tie him up but not knowing that he wanted to be tied up just because he will float if he doesn't have any weight. Both Aina and Kuhei are now miserable, seeing their friends flirting. Later on that night, Chisa goes out while everyone's sleeping to make Iori practice, but seeing her gone, Aina follows her, realizing that they tried to sneak out to spend some time alone. When Iori tells her that he would be wet, she gets the wrong idea, though all he meant was he would get wet by getting in the water. To confront everything, Aina comes out, witnessing Iori getting in the water while Chisa is putting weight on his head by putting her leg on his head. Now that they were caught red-handed, Iori reveals the truth. That being said, Aina is relieved that no adult activity is going on between the 2 of them and decides to help Iori as well. Just when they both put pressure on his head, a random guy witnesses this, assumes they are murdering Iori, and complains to the police about the whole scenario. Although, after practicing for some time, water is still in his mask. Despite that, Iori still wants to try again, so he assures both the girls to rest, and he will practice on his own. Later on, while he practices, the police arrive at the location and interrogate Iori. Therefore, the police decide to take a round of the place to examine if something's suspicious. Iori is okay with it, but once he realizes he can't get out of the water because of him being naked, tension washes over his face. The next morning, everyone is being informed about Iori catching a cold. Chisa and Aina keep their mouths shut, being aware of the reason. Later on, all the members go for their license test, while Azusa stays at home for Iori. She brings some sort of vegetable, but getting the wrong idea, Iori freaks out that it would be stuck in his butt, though all Azusa wants to do is a home remedy since he will be going to the ocean tomorrow and all the pharmacies are closed for now. Scared, he runs away, but later on, as he gets back, their attention shifts towards vodka. After a while, Azusa tries to tempt Iori by giving him an option to be physical with her, but Iori controls himself, calming and telling himself that it is a test. A few minutes later, Iori discusses with Azusa her interest in Nanaka as well as Takeda. Out of curiosity, he wants to know why she is not going after Takeda and ends up being shocked and jealous when Azusa reveals that Takeda has a girlfriend. The jealousy makes him so furious that he decides to drink the vodka both of them saw in the room. At the same time, Kuhei and Aina have gotten their license. They all are now going to Miyakojima tomorrow. As soon as they arrive back at their apartment, they witness Iori and Azusa drunk, while the vegetable is inserted in Iori's butt and both of them are passed out. All of them guess that they have made out, while Aina couldn't help but stop herself from seeing all this. The next day, the Peekaboo's club members finally arrive at Miyako's airport. Riding a plane within the same prefecture is weird for them, though they admire this beautiful new place. This island is closer to Taiwan than Japan, that is why it is so far away. With the tour guides, they began the journey, while the tour guides explain that they are looking forward to Otori afterwards even more but got here early since they are going diving in the morning. Kuhei and Iori have no idea about it, so the drivers elaborate that it is a drinking custom from Miyakojima. Otori is one of the reasons they came for this trip. After arriving at the hotel, the guys discuss the rumors on the internet that some restaurants put on signs saying no Miyakojima people, though that is just an urban legend. No one would drink and act that badly, although at the same time the Peekaboo Club is banned from the hotel. However, due to the fact that Iori hasn't gotten his license, he now won't be diving with all his club members. In the boat, all of them are talking about random stuff. Just then, Kuhei talks about the amateur being exciting. But Iori gets furious as Kuhei has only done it twice himself. Before their fight could start, Aina interrupts, commanding them to stop because there are other people on the boat too. Later on, a meeting is being held about their diving plan. They are planning to dive to a depth of 17 meters for 40 minutes. At the same time, Iori is being undressed too, as the other people on the boat are letting him join their trial dives for the first and second dives, and as everyone is planning for 3 dives, for the third dive Iori would wait on the boat. The first dive went pretty smoothly. They all talk about how they saw a parent turtle with its child, but Iori didn't see any of it. In that case, Katabuki shows him the picture they took, and he just wishes that he saw them by being closer. Chisa notices him being upset but doesn't really say anything. At the second dive, they all again encounter a giant turtle, realizing it is just like the aquarium. The sight of a turtle reminds Chisa of Iori, who wanted to see the world underwater, but obviously diving in shallower water won't help him see any of the creatures. After the second dive, everyone can't help but remember all the mesmerizing creatures and beauty they saw underwater. While they are talking about their experience, they notice Iori not being there and being very quiet for him. That being said, Chisa decides to skip the third dive, lying about her having an earache. As they all leave for the third dive, Chisa goes to the deck where Iori has been sitting silently. Seeing him like this, Chisa nervously motivates him to not be discouraged because they will be going somewhere shallow tomorrow where he can do more trial dives, and she even got tickets to the aquarium at work. Ignoring all those things, Iori admits that he should have taken the motion sickness pills. Waiting on the surface before diving is pretty rough. Despite missing the license, Iori assures Chisa of never hating diving because of all of this, as even being on the boat, eating lunch together, listening to all the underwater stories, and feeling the breeze and the sunlight while the boat moves are also enjoyable for him. Therefore, he wishes to come back again. After winding up the diving, they all head back to the land. That night, after news that the group has been banned from their chosen restaurant, Katabuki and Takeda announce that they will hold their own otori in the hotel. This means they will drink from the same pot, especially since it is a special trip, and the fact that it is hard to come up with a drink that everyone likes. So to be fair, they decide to drink something everyone hates. In that case, everyone keeps pouring the spiritus, but Iori and Kuhei aren't happy about it, knowing damn well they won't be able to remember anything after drinking so much. They try to put in some water to lower the alcohol percentage in order to be safe but eventually give in. As they are out of the drinks, Aina takes the initiative to go out with Iori to get some drinks. Getting back at the hotel, Aina is pissed because of Iori going out in just boxers, but to calm her anger, Azusa offers Aina a drink. But she accidentally picks the heavily alcoholic beverage, and her personality completely flips as she tries taking off Iori and Kuhei's boxers, scaring Iori and Koei into fleeing from the hotel. However, nostalgia hits them hard as they talk about how they never thought of joining a club like this, but in an instant beneath the dark shadows, Aina quickly tracks them down, scaring them by her perverted behavior. The next morning, while getting back to their city, Azusa and Aina are fascinated since Chisa took out all the pictures she took from her camera for memories, staring at the Polaroids, realizing they had a great time. That concludes the anime recap. As always, if you enjoyed, let me know down below and I'm out.